It's a wild world out there, but some worlds are even wilder. Hi, my name is Tyler Hapney, and you're listening to Dungeons and Dystopias. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Dungeons and Dystopias. I am your host and game master, Tyler Hapney. I have run hundreds of games of Dungeons and Dragons and Cyberpunk RED combined, and this podcast is a way for me to reconcile my thoughts on both of those systems. For today's episode, we're going to be talking a bit more about Cyberpunk RED, and we're going to be continuing a series I've been doing, talking about all the different roles and classes and things you can play in Cyberpunk RED. And one I haven't covered yet, and one I think is extremely important to the economy of Night City in general, is the Fixer, or the role of Fixer. Which is, I mean, even for people who've played Cyberpunk 2077 and might not be expressly familiar with a lot of the roles, will at least recognize what a fixer is, because they are that important to Night City that they are, I'd say, pretty prevalent in the video game. So what is a fixer? Well, in real life, a fixer is typically somebody who, helps you get stuff done. They can put you into contact with people, or kind of help you build connections and what have you. And in Cyberpunk RED, it's pretty much the same thing. These are the people that are in the know. They have relationships. They have, good connections with gangs, corporations, solos, pretty much anyone who's anybody in Night City is really kind of who a fixer is going to be wanting to kind of, get to know. So fixers are interesting just in general, because not only do a lot of those sort of the jobs your characters are going to be going off of sort of rely upon a fixer to sort of get everything together, but at the same time they're also very important to the economy of Night City in general. For one, most people, at least most expensive items, you're not going to be able to find on the street. Not during the time of the RED. Supply chains are so messed up, and things are hard to get into Night City. So in general, you're not going to be able to just go down to the store and pick up a €5,000 gun. That's usually you're going to have to steal it, find it, something. But you're generally not really going to be able to immediately just find it and get it, unless, of course, you have access to a fixer. Now, fixers of certain role levels can actually get stuff of that variety. They can even, if they get high enough, I think up to like rank 9 or 10, they can get stuff that's up to like €10,000 in value. But obviously that requires them to be a very high level fixer. But for like a typical starting fixer, you're not even going to be able to get anything worth 5,000. Typically, I think the maximum is about €1,000 for the typical thing you can kind of get, or is it 500 at starting? Well, either way, you as a fixer start out essentially already able to source products up to a certain value, and they're not typically the greatest stuff, but I mean, it's a lot better than a night market, where you kind of have to roll to see if you're getting anything. But if you talk to a fixer, you probably have to pay a little extra, a fixer's finder fee, but you can get like sleep grenades, smart rockets, stuff like that relatively, easily, as long as you've got the right connections. And when I say relatively, I mean relatively for Night City. Sometimes you can just buy them. Sometimes it's like, well, I know where there's a shipment coming in and you can get some there, so to speak. So ultimately that's kind of, the sort of different types of fixers you might get, where one might be able to just source you the stuff and another will send you along to do a mission in order to get whatever you're trying to get. So really, there's some variation there. But that's just kind of sort of the overview of fixers. They're the economic, sort of persuasive, connected type of person of the party. And I know sometimes fixers won't even be necessarily part of the job. I've had some players play fixers where they'll not even really at the job itself, but rather, providing feedback and helping them out through other ways that a fixer can do, like socially, like calling people and, calling stuff in when the players might need it. And it's a very strange role to play, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you can find a way to make that fun and enjoyable for your fixer player, that's always great. Obviously, you could also just be a fixer that goes in and does the work yourself. I mean, there's plenty of fixers out there that have these connections and then they'll go in and kind of exploit them a little bit, sort of in the same way as a media might, trying to like find a story or something. But a fixer is more, I think at the end of the day, a fixer is more just focused on money and media connections and networking, but probably not as much of like exposing the truth or whatever as a media might be. A fixer is likely more just in it for the hustle, which is fine. I mean, it's Night City. Most people are just in it for the hustle. Medias are kind of a special in that instance. But yeah, in terms of how your character should be playing a fixer or how your player should be playing a fixer, pretty much anything, really. The only thing you need for a fixer is it's got to be a high cool stat. I mean, plain and simple. You're just going to need high social skills, and also definitely gonna want to look towards building into trading. Trading is the skill that fixers are going to use probably the most. It's your ability to negotiate. It is your ability to eke out extra bonuses depending on your fixer rank, which we will be going through pretty shortly here. Uh, and yeah, I mean, end of the day, it's really all about making that money. So it's making that money, and being a smooth talker and being able to get what you want through charisma, through business savvy, stuff like that. So, maybe it'll help to have high intelligence in your fixer as well. Though personally, I don't think it's necessarily required. Very helpful. Don't get me wrong. It's it's always good for a fixer to be able to figure out, business or gambling or things like that, or forgery even. I mean, a fixer with forgery, I feel like could be a very dangerous person indeed. So that is sort of, I mean, if you're looking at how to play a fixer, mechanically, those are kind of the stats you're going to look towards. At the very least, going to want a lot of charisma, cool, you know, now, as for mechanically, what is sort of the difference between these ranks? So, fixer ranks are pretty interesting. It's a lot like rocker boy in the sense that different ranks tell you sort of these different effects that your character is going to be winding up having. Sort of these different abilities. uh, I guess level of influence would be a best way to put it. But depending on your fixer rank, that determines your level of influence. Starting at level 4, uh, you've already started with sort of connection with some gangs, some local politicos, and stuff like that. And for the most part, you're actually I'd say you're already pretty decent off. I'd say most people in 2077 that you're starting with, like maybe even Regina, might be like a level 4 fixer or something like that. Like they're not necessarily intensely popular throughout the whole city, but at the very least, you know what I mean? So, you also get the ability to haggle, which is a huge thing for fixers. They get different types of haggling at different ranks. But the one that you're getting at rank 4 and the one you're typically starting with is when you're buying 5 or more of one item. So let's say you're going to buy 5 rockets. If you are successful on your haggle check, you can get one more of that item for free. So if you're buying 5 rockets and you pass your trading check, you can get 6 rockets, which is cool. This is a free little item. And then, I mean, if you're buying something that's a bit more expensive, that could be quite a bit of profit for you at the end of the day. And then there's another one where if you're haggling and you're successful, you can get about 10% more or less market price when you're buying or selling something. So if you're going to try to sell those rockets, well, then you do another trading check and you can upmark them for about 10%, so 550. And if you're selling 6 of those, that is quite a bit of profit, which is how some of my fixer characters have, in fact, made their money. It was through all that sort of business. So moving on to rank 5. We're gonna get a look at here. So for rank 5, you're starting to actually get more decent context. You've got a major player within the city. So, maybe a major edge runner or somebody who has a lot of power politically. City Politico, same thing. And then a neighborhood celebrity. So, someone who might be popular around like the Kabuki neighborhood or something, obviously like a high-end Tiger Claw or whatever. And then obviously you've got local honcho gang lord, local neighborhood leadership, stuff like that. It's encompassing all of the previous reaches that you have. And then with rank 5, this one's huge. If you work with other fixtures of your rank, you can set up a night market where you can sell all of your goods. So let's say you've got those 6 rockets. Well, guess what? Set up a night market and you can sell them all at one night. Definitely interesting place. And here's the fun thing. As long as you are at a night market that you help set up, you can find a place to source up to super luxury items, which is 10,000 euro dollars. But of course, that requires you to be in a night market, to have friends with other fixers, and still, it's a source. So it might be you just get it, and it might be you have to steal it. You get the idea. And then obviously for rank 5, you can always find a place to source up to expensive items, which I believe is 500 euro dollars. On a piece-by-piece basis, even if they are otherwise unavailable, which is obviously huge for players who are trying to get stuff that might not be very easy to get supply chain-wise. If you get a fixer, that's not a problem anymore. And then with haggle, you can now successfully negotiate if you succeed on your trading check. The price or the pay for per person for a job up by 20%. So if they're paying you 1,000, guess what? That's 1,200 that you're actually making, which is really good. I mean, that's extra money in your pocket, and considering Cyberpunk RED has a rent mechanic, it's pretty great. And then we obviously have the previous haggles available as well. I didn't mention Greece earlier, but this one's pretty cool. It allows you to get along with different cultures. So let's say you want to, get along with the Hispanic culture. Well, you learn Spanish, and that already starts at like skill level 4, just from Greece automatically. So fixers also know a lot of language and stuff like that. Moving on to our next rank, we are looking at fixer rank 6. This allows you to talk to a local corporate president, the mayor, or a city manager, as well as a local celebrity. So, maybe Johnny Silverhand or something, or a local celebrity. I guess he'd be local in Night City. Your reach at rank 6. Oh, sorry, I was reading rank 7 there. You don't get the local celebrity until rank 7. Your reach, you still get your night market. Things don't really change for rank 6, which I think is why I moved straight to 7. So 5 and 6, they are about the same. It is sort of, I guess, stagnant there. But then at rank 7, you get, like I mentioned, that local celebrity. You also now, without having to set up a night market, can source very expensive items. So I think that's 1,000 for your clients on a piece-by-piece basis, even if they are otherwise unavailable, plus all of the other stuff from before. And then with haggle, we get the ability to, when buying a luxury or super luxury item, you can pay half now and then half in 1 month, which is, pretty great. If you don't pay the second half on time, nobody will do this deal with you again. So it is kind of a privilege to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, having a sort of credit card system in Cyberpunk RED is huge. And it's a system where money is extremely important. Your character needs it to live, and they have to pay. My players wind up paying somewhere around 2,000 a month for their rent, because it's a studio apartment and generic repack. That's 1,800 euro dollars minimum. That their characters are spending per month, and then whatever they spend on anything extra, that's on them. So haggling gets really good, and then with Greece, we're at rank 7. We're up to 6 different additional cultures you can be a part of. So that's all these different languages, all these different people, and we're only at rank 7. So let's take a look at rank 8. So looking at rank 8, it's about the same. These are, it is the exact same as rank 7. And then once we go up to rank 9, we are going to be seeing another huge change. So for rank 9, you have the ability to talk to the corporation, or divisional corporation head, state or city zone, political, and a well-known celebrity. So I guess that would be your Johnny Silverhand. Um, you always find a place to source up to luxury items for your clients on a piece-by-piece basis, even if they are otherwise unavailable. When you set up a night market, you can choose to additionally set up a midnight market, which midnight market is basically a night market on steroids. You can get way better stuff at a midnight market. They're usually hand-picked and usually very worth it. If you ever get invited to a midnight market, take it immediately. Your new haggle, you can get 20% more or less than market price in buying or selling. So once again, if we're going to go back to our rocket situation, that would instead be selling each rocket for 600, which is pretty great. 600 times 6, that's 3,600 from buying 6 rockets, which, might have wound up being 3,000, or obviously 400 for 400 for each would be 2,400. Make over $1,000 profit off of that. It's pretty good. But with Greece at level 9, you're able to not only blend in perfectly with other cultures, but also corporate and governmental agencies. So that is also very huge. And then last but not least, let's get to our last fixer rank. This is very good. You're in contact with a major world leader, major corporation heads, world famous celebrities. You can always find a place to source up to super luxury items, which is 5,000. You can negotiate to double the pay per person for a dangerous job, which typically already pays out like 2,000. So you can try and, like rank 10, you can try and get €4,000 per person for a job, which it's crazy. And then finally, with Greece, you can blend in seamlessly with almost any group, including very specialized or tight groups such as secret societies, cults, or exclusive membership groups. So, country clubs, stuff like that. Wow. Really, honestly, just a whole lot kind of going on here. And I think we can already just sort of, the fixer, like I said, it's one of the most important roles you're going to get in your group. Without a fixer, you're going to have to talk to NPC fixers, and they might be a little bit skeezier than your fellow player. So, I always find it fun to interweave my fixer players into the group, because they oftentimes are also the source for jobs for my players. They'll have a thing their fixer wants to do, and then I'll help them set up a job there or a mission for the players. We've even had whole campaigns with player fixers, and it's worked out really well. So if you're considering making a Cyberpunk character, definitely consider fixer, just because some of your other players might not be. As for now, we're going to get into our metaphorical monster of the week. And since I've been talking so much about fixers, I think I should probably go in a little bit more into some of Cyberpunk's more famous fixers that people are kind of know about, at least in the Cyberpunk RED era. Well, I guess talking about the time of the RED's a little strange with this specific one. I'm going to be talking about Wakako Okada, who is not technically a fixer at the time of the RED. I believe she's actually a medtech for the Tiger Claws. However, by the time of Cyberpunk 2077, most people will recognize the name Wakako Okada as the Tiger Claws fixer. She's pretty much, she's the forward face of that gang. Essentially, she's not the leader, but she does work very heavily with them. And obviously that all starts in Cyberpunk RED. So who is Wakako? Well, Wakako is a Japanese lady who at the time of the RED is young, pretty young. She's just past her first husband, which by 2077 she's had like 5 or 6. But in 2045, her first husband was just maybe killed by the Tiger Claws. And she is working as a medtech for that gang in question. I'm only bringing Wakako up because she's an excellent character. She falls into that fixer role in 2077 flawlessly. And in terms of thinking of who might be the perfect fixer to describe exactly what kind of business they do, Wakako is right there. She is, she's easily the most important, one of the most important fixers in the 2077 story. You get a lot done because of Wakako. And if you really want to know how to play a fixer or sort of just generally looking at kind of how a fixer's vibe is, Wakako. Look at Wakako in Cyberpunk 2077, and she will tell you perfectly basically sort of the way to role play a fixer properly. And she's also a really funny character. That is going to be it for us this week. Thank you all so much for listening. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about Dungeons and Dragons. I have been your host, Tyler Hapney, and this has been Dungeons and Dystopias. Thank you so much for listening.